We are now going to talk all things Manchester United with Flex from the United stands. Flex, a lot to United view. Sorry, Flex.
Pastime. Wasn't a United stand, though.
Well, I'm sorry. No.
Big shout out to them, though.
That was an absolute disgrace. Sorry, Flex.
I feel sick.
How's the channel going, though? Is it going good? Is it still busy as ever?
Yeah, busy as ever with the story that is Manchester United that we obviously follow as avid Man United fans. The emotional highs, the emotional lows, the chaos, the excitement, which hasn't been much of that recently, but yeah, you know what I mean.
It feels the big story with Man United at the moment is Jadon Sancho. We mentioned right at the top that we're expecting that deal to Borussia Dortmund to go through sooner rather than later. It's going to be a loan deal, and we mentioned the top deal we Flex, but that seems important that it's a loan deal. I like the fact that it's not permanent because look, we could get to the end of the season and Erik ten Hag could not be the manager, Flex, right? Come the start of next season, and there's a good chance the new manager might want to have a look at Jadon Sancho. There's a loan deal at this stage of the season. Feel like the right move for all parties, Flex?
Yeah, it's the right thing. It is the right thing. You're not going to be able to sell Jadon Sancho now in January. Who's going to have the money halfway through the season as well? And he hasn't played. He hasn't played since September, which is a big layoff. So this is just about him playing, getting his confidence back up, so that in the summer it can be readdressed then and there can be a longer term solution to that.
Palestri and Hannibal also apparently are both off.
Yeah.
Are you in a position with your injuries to be getting rid of these sort of players? I know players are coming back and you haven't got Europe, but it just feels like with so many injuries that I know they're only squad players, but you need these sort of players, don't you, at the moment?
Yeah, but it's exactly what you said though. With Man United now pretty much going to have one game a week for the rest of the season, apart from the FA Cup, see how far we go in that, but not fighting on all fronts. Loads of players coming back. For someone like Hannibal, these are players that are ahead of him. Bruno Fernandes, Kobbie Mainoo, Scott McTominay, Christian Eriksen, Mason Mount. Who else am I missing? There's Amrabat, who he hasn't been in and out himself. That's 6. So there's a lot of players there ahead of him. And some Man United fans may say why, but I think he needs to go and play. It's actually a good move for him. And actually, the reports are suggesting that it's between Everton and Sevilla. They're both in relegation battles, respectively.
Stay in the Premier League, though.
Absolutely. And Sean Dyche, I tell you what, he'd like a bit of Hannibal. He's nasty, gets about the pitch. They're in a dogfight.
Anfield last season when he came on at 7 down and started kicking people.
Yeah, he did. I mean,
not great, you need but to have more. Yeah, a bit of fight.
I'm not saying that's all he's good at. I'm just saying that you need a player who's going to be willing to dig deep and get in the trenches if you're in a relegation battle and fight for you. And Hannibal definitely has that type of characteristic. I think he'd be a perfect Sean Dyche player for the rest of the season to help keep Everton up.
You just mentioned his name there, Kobbie Mainoo.
Yeah.
He's had an amazing couple of months. I didn't know too much about him a few months ago, but he settled in really well into this United squad. We love in this country to big up and probably at times overhype young players, but it's also good to get excited. But I mean, I've seen some people say if he can keep doing what he's doing for the next couple of months, then maybe he could gate crash the Euro squad. I know that's super early, but I'm throwing it your way as a Man United fan. How highly do you rate this kid? How good can he be?
Yeah, I really rate him. I think he's so exciting. I think he plays with a technical ability and maturity beyond his years. The way he scans before he gets the ball, his positional awareness, his physicality, his calmness on the ball, his willingness to pass forward, which in the modern game is seen as sort of like a rarity. Oh, there's a midfielder who wants to pass forward. It's a midfielder's job, but there's so many midfielders who don't do that nowadays, I think, in the modern game. So many midfielders who do play safe and don't look to play between the lines and get your team playing. And he's only 18 years of age, and he's showing up senior pros with some of his performances, and it is really early. He seems like he has a really calm head, got a good family, good people around him, really humble kid. And I think he needs patience. The England thing, no. Like, as much as I would love to write the story for Kobbie coming in first season, get him in the England squad, he's a surprise inclusion, wow, he's actually playing because there was injury. Yeah, you want to write that story. But just like you said, this is what we do as fans.
Yeah,
we overhype players too much and put too much on them. He just needs to keep his feet on the ground. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to have good performances. He's going to have some bad performances, and we need to understand that. But he is outstanding for his age and someone who definitely should be the future of Man United's midfield for the next 10 years.
Future captain. He's got all the
he's got the talent and ability to lead by example with his performances. I'll say that. He obviously right now he's young, so he's going to be fairly quiet and not going to be shouting at senior pros telling him what to do. So I'm not going to say he's the next Man United captain, but in terms of the ability and how well he's performing ahead of senior internationals who are supposed to be way better than him and should be guiding him, he's got all the ability in the world.
Anthony Martial looks set to stay and keep hold of that mega contract you mentioned a little bit earlier on, but how desperate now are Man United fans to see the back of him? I mean, is the fact that he's still at the club on big wages.
It's everything that's wrong with Man United.
I was literally about to say, does that sum up the mess of your football club and the way it's been run from a footballing point of view over the last 10 years?
Yes, I will push back on the bit where, because I do think sometimes Martial sometimes gets overly scrutinised, like Man United are so bad all because of him.
Yeah.
Like at times, he's lazy, his face doesn't look right, he's quiet. I don't really like to go down that route. I just go by the actual output of what I'm seeing and the longevity that he's been here since 2015. It's been too up and down.
10 years, Flex.
It's nearly 10 years. That's what I mean. It's insane how long he's been here. And we are in a situation where Man United are reaping sort of the sins of the past. Like I keep saying, like you put Martial on a brand new deal under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I think give him a 4-year deal or a 5-year deal, whatever it was at the time, which is only coming to an end now. And the fact that according to reports, he's sort of digging his heels in and saying, "No, I'm just going to refuse offers from Fenerbahce or on the continent in Europe because I'm okay, thank you. I'm on this money for the next 6 months. I hold all the power, I hold all the cards, and it's Man United's fault. It is Man United's fault. As much as fans can get frustrated at the lack of outgoings or significant outgoings and shifting the wage bill and changing things around, this is exactly why. Because Man United have made poor decision after poor decisions on players who aren't deserving of big, long contracts, who have not hit the heights, who have not fulfilled their potential for one reason or other, through themselves or the club being a mess. Put it all into one, and they can't shift these players. So, it is indicative of everything that's wrong at Manchester United. But from a player perspective, if you're Anthony Martial, you're on over 200 grand a week, reportedly 250 grand a week. He's not gonna get another contract like that for the rest of his whole career, unless he goes to Saudi at the end of summer, which he still might do. So, but in Europe, he's not going to go to Fenerbahce and get 250 grand a week, is he? So, of course, he's going to want to stay in inverted commas, fight for his place.
Fighting hard, isn't he?
Yeah.
Halfway point of the season, there's no European football for Man United because you're out of the Carabao Cup. The best case scenario now for United and Ten Hag, I think you're probably going to say it's got to be about finishing in the top 4. I mean, you're 9 points off
at best,
or 4th place at the moment, aren't you? But does Ten Hag have to finish in the top 4 to keep his job, Flex?
The feeling I have is that if it doesn't get much better, which I don't think it will, I think it will be easier for Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe to make a managerial change if Man United finished 7th.
So no top 4 and Ten Hag gets sacked.
No top 4, no trophy, and I feel like that could be.
Would you want him to be sacked, Flex? If you get to the end of the second season now and we don't see a big upturn, you miss out on top 4, which you have to say is a big possibility. With the new ownership, is that where you got to say we're giving you 2 years, Erik? You lose your job. Yeah,
well, the signings that he's made hasn't been good.
Is that yes?
No, because I actually want Ten Hag to stay and work it out with this new look Manchester United. But it's a results-driven business, Sam. If Ten Hag said himself in the press conference, he said, "I've got players coming back, performances will improve, results should improve. Ineos know that I've got my players coming back." So, and players are coming back. So if there's not an upturn in form or something that we can buy into, as much as players also need to be moved on, then what's the future look like? But I do want Erik Ten Hag to be given more time under the new stewardship of Ineos. And
you really like Ten Hag, don't you?
I do. I actually do.
You're really backing him on him. Fair play to you.
I do like Ten Hag, but I'm not blindly backing him. Like I understand that if this carries on at the way it is, if Ineos want to come in and change absolutely everything and say we're gonna get rid of the manager, we're gonna get rid of the coaching staff, we're gonna start selling players, the lot, we're gonna change it all. I'm not opposed to that either, but I do think it would be good to see Erik Ten Hag under the new regime. One
more for you. This time last week I was with Rory Jennings, and he believes that the new and next Man United manager, probably for the start of next season, he thinks is going to be Graham Potter, who we know has links with these new owners. How would you feel if I was to tell you that I can look into the future and day one of next season, Graham Potter is going to be the new Man United manager?
I don't want to see that.
You don't want that at all?
I don't want to see that at all. I think Graham Potter is... he's a good coach. He is a good coach, and I think obviously with the Chelsea experience, his stock would have fallen, which I don't always agree with. That it means that a manager's finished because they've had one bad experience. Not at all.
Yeah,
he is a good manager.
Good work at Brighton.
Yeah, good work. Very, very good work at Brighton, which De Zerbi's extended upon. But I think we saw with him going to Chelsea. I know it's a bit of a mess at Chelsea, but still, it was just far too big. It was far too big, and it's this is what happens when managers are doing really well at smaller clubs. And bigger clubs say, that's fine for us, it will work 100%. It's not always the case. And for me, I think that would be such a sideways/downward step if we got Graham Potter. I just cannot see that working at all.
But also, I'm not being funny though.
And it wouldn't fill a lot of fans with a lot of
you're saying
confidence.
It's going to be a massive downward step. I mean, you're 8th in the table right now.
Yeah.
And you're saying you go downhill under Potter.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think we probably would, or at least the same.
Then,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, but Man United is so much more than just the manager. And this is what I keep.
Sure.
This is what I keep saying. It's like if Graham Potter come in under what's happening, it would be just as poor as it is now. If De Zerbi came into Manchester United, if Emery came into Manchester United as it exists in its entirety right now, these managers would fail.
Yeah.
And that's why I want Erik ten Hag to stay with a new look Manchester United.
Gary Neville once exclusively told me Man United is a graveyard for managers.
There
we go.
mate.
Where's that clip of Gary Neville?
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.